Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. This is Adam, and today I'm going to show you a very interesting featured battle where I fought. He's a pretty good streamer and he's a very good player and he does a lot of stealth as well. I fought Arrow in a Sylph Nightfall Cup, and so today we're going to look over that because I think it's a very great battle and I wanted to feature it on my channel. Not just because it's Arrow, although that definitely helps, but because as you'll see and I'll show you in the battle, I believe that I did a really good job of highlighting what it can be like to really wear down and force shields out of your opponents. And so I will show you that battle because I think that the whole process of it and the whole battle itself was very well done by me. And I don't mean to like toot my own horn, but you'll see I think it's a pretty good showing of advanced techniques for Pokemon Go's battles. So we'll go in here, and in a second I'll start the video, but before, you should know that I do include team selection here because I believe that team selection is a very important part of how this goes. And so, I mean, you'll see my mouse here, I guess, but on the right side of the screen you'll have Arrow's team just up there for the entire time, and on the bottom left portion of the screen here you'll see my team and you'll see the team selection. As you can see, I also have a Gallade in here, but that's just because I was using Gallade in a different tournament for this. But the team on your bottom right down here, or your bottom left down here, it should be the team that I'm using. So you won't see me using the Gallade this time, although the Gallade was very good in this cup. So I'll start it up. First we're going to look at the teams. Again, I have a Medicham, Galarian Stunfisk, a Froslass, Swampert, Golbat, and Venusaur. This team is very good against a lot of different types of things. The Medicham is a very good neutral pick for almost everything in this cup. The main weaknesses being Frostlasses and Gengar, but I didn't really see many Gengars. Galarian Stunfisk really good at energy management, and there's not much other than a Medicham that really the Galarian Stunfisk doesn't want to see. Frostlass doesn't really want to see a Galarian Stunfisk, but it's also very good, very powerful, not very strong, but very powerful, and does get to charge moves relatively quickly. Swampert, same thing, gets to charge moves very quickly. Swampert is a very good counter for the Frostlass if you have shields, because it charges up so fast with Hydro Cannon. Golbat, I didn't actually really use Golbat all that much. I used it once because somebody had Shadow Victreebel, but other than that, it's not really that great, which is why I switched to Gallade later on instead of the Golbat. And then Venusaur. Venusaur is very good. It's a very neutral pick. Definitely suffers versus Gallade or Flyers, but there aren't that many of those. I mean, Gallade a little bit more prevalent, but it's honestly a pretty good neutral pick overall, and I kind of regret not using it more throughout all of Nightfall, but it definitely served me well and it was a good enough pick. So then Arrow, we have another Venusaur, another Swampert, another Galarian Stunfisk, and he brought the Gallade this time, which Gallade versus my team is actually pretty good. Oh, at least against this iteration of my team. When I have the Gallade in there, it's a little bit safer, but who knows. The Golbat doesn't really, I mean, it's interesting, but like you look at my team, I have the main things that it really works against are the Medicham and the Venusaur, because the Galarian Stunfisk walls pretty much every flyer imaginable. Frostlass is good against it as long as you can shield the Shadow Ball, and Swampert charges so fast and Hydro Cannons hurt it so bad that it just doesn't matter. And then obviously there's the mirror, but we won't go too much into that. And then Lapras, which Lapras is a pretty decent pick against my team, but it's not the worst. I can definitely handle it with Medicham, or Frostlass is okay, or Galarian Stunfisk is pretty good. Swampert is doable. And then Venusaur just depends on shields, because that's a relatively even matchup. So now that we went through that, now maybe you'll see just how I selected teams here, and we'll monitor how everything goes. And I'm going to walk you through it a little bit as it goes. So I started it up, should be going here. And we go, I picked the Galarian Stunfisk first because I figured that Gallade might be a good lead against my team, and I wanted to make sure that I had my best Gallade counter, because you can resist the confusion damage, and I'm in the lead, I'm not really too worried about shields, up front. And I go for Medicham again in case the Gallade's in the back. And then Frostlass as a closer to really do damage, especially versus a Venusaur, which I think is my weakest in the back here. Plus I wanted 2 flying counters for the Golbat, just in case. I didn't expect to see the Golbat, but just in case. So match 1, Stunfisk, and I correctly called the Gallade lead. And also, again, Galarian Stunfisk in the lead because it's charging up very quickly, and Swampert same thing, but since Swampert is so weak to the Leaf Blade, I went with the Galarian Stunfisk instead. So we CMP here, I counted his fast move, so I know this can be a close combat, and it is, so I correctly shield it. And since I got the CMP tie, I get to throw my move. I opt to bait because I was kind of expecting he would shield, but he didn't. That's okay. So Lapras comes in, and I instantly switch to the Medicham because I know it's a good matchup, and I can stay in here and get a lot of damage. As you can tell, I'm running Ice Punch and Psychic, which is the preferred moveset for this cup because of all the other fighters and everything. So I don't have Dynamic Punch to do a lot of damage. But I go for an Ice Punch here, expecting him to know that I charged up so much energy and I have less shields. So I go for it and I correctly get the bait. That's important here. The baits and the actually landing the charge moves here is important for these 3 matchups in particular. So I don't shield because I know I can Ice Punch again. And I know that if I can maybe get another shield, I don't think I'm going to get another shield, but I can do a little bit more damage here, and that's all I'm really going to get off before he farms me down. So obviously if I would have shielded more there, it would have been good, but I come in, I count his moves here. I don't know why that was a CMP tie. It really shouldn't have been, but I guess it was. I think I counted and I hit it on it, but I didn't think that his move was going to go through. So it might have been a false CMP. But I take it because I'm not going to use the shield yet, and I go for the Rock Slide there. He brings back in the... Oh no, he brings in a Swampert. So I know that I need the shields down here. So I go for the Earthquake to take shields. Because I'm like, I'm either going to get the shield or the damage, and it goes right through. At that point, I'm like, this game is over. Like, that's exactly what I needed for this game. And since I know this is probably going to hurt the most, I opt to shield a Hydro Cannon. Because I know he's going to get to 2 of them, and just in case it was an Earthquake. So I shield that one. He is going to get a Hydro Cannon here. But he comes back in, and that's what I kind of didn't expect. I mean, I was waiting and saving I was going to farm down there, but I didn't exactly expect that to come through. And he has to shield now. So this first match, as you'll see, is very close. I have 1 health here, and I go and I get the Avalanche, but I die too quickly. So I come back in here, I'm like, oh god, I'm going to lose. But look at this. Fast move down. He just got to a Hydro Cannon, and I had 1 health left. That was on the edge of my pants. That was one of the closest matches I've had, almost surely. Like, that was a great match, but like I said, making him shield that Ice Punch and making him leave open that Earthquake really won me that game. And so I'm looking at his team this time, and I'm thinking, what's going to happen? I know he's a good player, and I have seen a lot of, I've played good players before, and I have a feeling that he's going to try to go same team, same lead. And I want to be in that same matchup. So I go same team, same lead, expecting him to do the same. And as you see, I once again call the lead. And that is huge here. So this matchup, I'm expecting him to try to play it a little bit differently, but I want to play it exactly the same, just to make sure that he, just to make sure that everything goes pretty similar. So I play it exactly the same. He goes for the Leaf Blade, which is fine. I'm not too upset, but I expect that he'll think that now I'm trying to mess with his brain, and I am trying to mess with his brain, but the other way around. He's going to think that I'm going to throw the Earthquake, but I throw the Rock Slide, and this means I can get to the Earthquake. I think I'm going to double shield here, although I'm not sure. Yes, I'm going to double shield. And I do block the close combat, and now I probably could have gotten away with a Rock Slide, but I already clicked on the Earthquake. And, I mean, he's just going to let it through. Like, there's no way to keep a debuffed... There's no reason to keep a debuffed Gallade at that point. So he's going to charge up extra, but I'm going to get the Earthquake, and I'm going to make him throw the energy here. So you're either throwing the energy or getting Earthquaked and having to shield. He does throw the Hydro Cannon, it does take me out. At this point I'm a little bit worried, but I'm like, it's fine. I come in with the Frostlass, because I know I need to get a little energy off him. This could be an Earthquake. It's fine to be an Earthquake. But it's a Hydro Cannon. And that's okay. So I found a little bit more here, and I anticipated him switching. He also switched a little bit early, so I was able to see it a little bit better, but I kind of anticipated him switching. I was going to overfarm there anyway before I threw it, but then he switched a little early too, and I was able to Shadow Ball this, and he didn't shield it because he was expecting it to be Avalanche. So I really busted that through there. And so this time, I'm gonna have to take this, but I come back into the Medicham again. That landing that Shadow Ball there was huge. It really is going to help me, as you see. And he's going to come in here. I'm going to go straight for the Psychic, because I don't expect him to shield this. And of course he doesn't shield it, because I was expecting him to save the shield versus my Frostlass, and I knew that I needed to go for the stronger, higher damage move to try to either get the damage or get the shield. And so obviously the Hydro Cannon takes me out, but he doesn't have enough energy, and I have enough... I have the strength within my fast moves to take him down. And so he didn't even shield. If he had shielded, it would have been a lot closer, for sure. But he didn't, and I kind of expected that. So as you are seeing, if you can really push their expectations, especially over the 3 matches in a row, you can do it. And this time, you see, I selected a different team. I was like, I don't know if they'll go for the Gallade a 3rd time in a row, but I still want that fast energy generation. But I still wanted the Galarian Sunfisk in the back, so I went with it. But as you see here, he does go for the Gallade. So I'm counting. I know he needs to eventually throw. We see in P-tie, I overfarmed a lot. I am going to shield the Leaf Blade, especially since we see him P-tied, and I don't want to waste that much energy. Especially with that much energy, I don't want to waste it. I also knew he was going to throw a Leaf Blade, so that means he has another one ready soon. So he switches out, and I didn't exactly anticipate a switch. I was going to switch anyway, and I got a little lucky there. But I'm like, he's going to expect another bait here. But I'm going for the Psychic. In my head, I knew he was expecting a bait. So I went for the Psychic, and I was like, I'm not going to take the Surf here. I'm just going to Psychic and get him out of here. Again, huge. The fact that I'm landing these, my nuke moves and getting my bait moves shielded is definitely what helped me win these matches. Because I don't know if I said it outright, but if you couldn't tell with my hinting at the beginning, I was going into this matchup thinking, ooh, this is not an amazing team for me. But now I come back in here with the Stunfisk, knowing that I have a lot of pretty good energy on my Swampert still. But I want to come in here. I don't expect him to throw close combat, or if he does, I expect to just absorb it, because I know I need the Swampert last. So he comes in here. I'm going to throw a move. I need to throw this to see if I can get him to shield. But I swap right in here, and I charge up extra. I'm throwing the Hydro Cannon. I have a shield here. I know I'm a little bit safe, so I'm expecting the shield. He shields. And now I know that I can't beat him to 2 Hydro Cannons, which I will need to take him out. But I see his health is a little bit lower, and Earthquake almost one-shots. So the fact that he has a little bit of health gone, I know that I can hit this Earthquake here as long as I beat him to the move. And I think he's just about at it. He must have just one more fast move to go. But I get to the Earthquake, and that's enough to take it out. And now I just need to fast move down the Gallade. As you see, those matches were very close. But because of how I played the shielding, and because of how I made it so the shielding, I kind of varied it up or made it the same and kind of messed with his head over the course of the 3 battles. Because I did that, it really won me that game. So I guess the lesson from this whole video is going to be, if you're playing a tournament series over the course of however many battles, in situations like that, picking your team based on how well you know your opponents. I mean, obviously you're not always going to be able to do that, but with certain people who you might play multiple times, or depending on certain team compositions, like this one, it wasn't entirely because I knew his arrow, like a little bit. I was like, okay, he's a good player, so how do I expect a high level player to play this? Especially on the first one, maybe a little bit safer, maybe also a little bit out there. But the biggest of both of those right in here in his team composition is that Gallade. So I kind of expected the Gallade to be in the team, but I also expected it to be more towards the front because it's one of the better things against all of my team. And so once you recognize stuff like that, it's really good to go into your team composition with that. And so as you noticed, I was able to pull out the Stunfisk, which is almost definitely my best Gallade counter, and get it in front of his Gallade. Then with the shielding, I went bait, and then the next time around the same matchup, I went bait again, because a lot of times, and I do this a lot too, if I see them bait the first time, the next time I somewhat expect them to play it differently. A lot of people will play it differently the second time by launching the nuke move instead of the bait, just to try to mess with your mind and see if you'll shield it. But since I used the bait and it didn't work, I'm just going to use the bait again. I don't always do that, so if like you fight me, don't expect me to do that, because might mess with your mind too. That's like the whole point of messing with people's minds, because if it works, it works. But that was really my plan there. Bait again, make him shield it, expecting me to have tricked him, but that's actually the real trick. And since I was able to do that, it really worked and really brought together the whole set of it. And then when you have an opening and you need to get the shields, make them choose. That's the line that's the line that I always use and think about. Make them choose. Make them either shield the move with a lot of damage coming at them, or save it expecting the damage to come later. Either way, as long as you can get off enough damage, you're golden, because if you make them choose and they choose wrong, it's perfect for you. But if you're making them choose between 2 high damaging moves, no matter what they have to choose the right one, and if they don't in that split second, which is hard to, that's the easiest win of your life. And that's what landing that Earthquake on the Swampert when he had a shield, well, and also landing the Psychic on the Lapras when he had an extra shield, those were huge for those matches, because I was able to land them through and I made him choose the damage. All of that really helped me in this matchup, and that's what I wanted to showcase here. I just want to keep going back to it. Force your opponent's shields, or force them to be baited. Really think about whether or not you think they're gonna shield the move before you throw it, because like that's what I did. I expected him not to shield the one move, so I threw the nuke move. I expected him to shield the other move, so I threw the bait move. And that's a really good strategy to help you win matchups a little bit easier, if not win more matchups. And then, like I said, in subtle ways in GBL, but also a lot in like tournament formats, really work on how you play versus the opponent over the course of the matches. So really try to get in their heads if you can, and really work at them on making them think about what they're doing. It doesn't always work as well as it did in this matchup. In this matchup, it really helped me win, but make them think, because they only have split seconds to do everything. Just make them think about how they're doing it and what they really need to focus on, and a lot of times you can get them to mess up, especially if you can think like them and get them to do the wrong thing. So those are some tips that I wanted to give you for today, and that's why I decided to feature this battle. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you all learned something. You can let me know in the comments what you think, and if you liked this, give a like to the video. If not, I mean, please don't dislike, but if you want to, go ahead. And hopefully I'll see you next time. I'm sorry I haven't been putting out too many videos lately, but there's been a lot of stuff going on, I guess. And as you see, I'm now even in a new location. I also should shout out the PvP Fight Club on Facebook. It's a really good group. I can't link it in the video. I tried last time and it didn't work, but I can have a link to it in the description. And also I should thank Yo It's Me Mofo Yo on Twitch. I was on her stream a few weeks ago, coaching her in Go Battle League. So if you want to, you should go and subscribe to her and check her out. And if you want, go back and watch the VOD where I was featured on her channel. It was really fun. We hung out for a while. It was very interesting. It was the first time I coached anyone, and maybe you'll learn something there too. So it's been great hanging out with you, and I hope you all have a great time until the next time I'll see you, and thanks. Bye.